What? Bang!
Whoa! Wrestling podcast. Just when they think they got the answers, I change the question.
Rep, screw, rep.
Yeah!
Woo!
Who are you to doubt El Dandy? Because this guy's a serious professional.
Did he do it? Unbelievable!
Too hot to handle and too cold to hold. And I am the Macho King Savage.
Shut your mouth, you thong-wearing fatty! I said WWE stands for! It's me, Austin! I will never retire!
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Hey, yo, Pro Wrestling Podcast listeners, welcome to the show where we don't sing it, we bring it. Help us out and click subscribe to show your support. Are you sick and tired of dropping $60 to $100 for the latest and greatest wrestling game? Stop immediately. Go to Wrestler Unstoppable, available exclusively through Facebook. You get to create a wrestler, sign contracts, get into storylines, create your own PLEs, even build your own corporation from the ground up, all included in Wrestler Unstoppable, available now to all Facebook users, totally free. If you want to become a member of the Pro Wrestling Podcast family, you want your name in the shoutouts like my good buddy John down in Texas, then check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/Pro Wrestling Podcast. Sign up today. Loyalty rewards. If you are a $15 a month contributor, you can co-host an episode of a live episode show with me. If you are a $7.50 a month contributor, enter into a drawing to also co-host a live show. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this episode of the Pro Wrestling Podcast. If you've got questions, comments, something you'd like us to touch on in a future episode, even if it's a comment about today's news, give us a shout at the Pro Wrestling Sound Off line 267-642-1160, and we will get to those comments and questions and things of that nature in a future episode. Today, we've got plenty of things going on in the world of wrestling. We're going to touch on many of them. A lot of WWE news, a little bit of AEW news, some results going on. But I want to start with something I think is just incredible. Brody Lee, the late, great Brody Lee, who passed away a few years ago in AEW, his son, Brody Lee Jr., one of the stories that I think got overlooked by some people in WrestleMania weekend, with all the craziness that is WrestleMania season, the news that Brody Lee Jr., at 13 years old, was able to come out and have his very first professional wrestling match at a GCW show that week, representing the Dungeon 2.0. Apparently he has been training at the Dungeon, getting his licks in there, and it's not one of these things where this is just like a pop the crowd kind of thing. The word from everybody about his debut is that he went in, he had his match, got right back the next day, back to the gym, and he is legitimately putting in the work to really devote himself to the pro wrestling world, to learn the psychology of everything, not just moves, but interviews, promo time, all of that stuff. And great for him at 13 years old to know you have a plan, a trajectory, start preparing for the big time, and you have to feel like it has to be in his blood. You know, Dad never reached the levels of success that probably would have in the coming years. I firmly believe if Brody Lee Sr., I'll call him Senior just so we know who I'm talking about, had he had a longer time in the business, I believe that in AEW he would have been a world champion. I really do. His popularity, his likability with the crowd, whether he was a heel, face, or otherwise, was so up there. WWE never capitalized on it. I really believe he would have been an AEW world champion at some point, and unfortunately his career cut short tragically. But to see Brody Jr. coming in there and getting an opportunity to be a part of GCW and Joey Janela's Spring Break show, just heartwarming. Love to see it. Had to get the approval from Mom. Apparently they had that conversation. Brett Lauderdale, the organizer, spoke to Joey Janela about the interest in having him be at the show, and they ended up having to have his mother give him the okay, Amanda Huber, and it apparently was a great moment for him, and so congratulations to him. Shifting the focus a little bit back into the WWE world, a lot of people frustrated WrestleMania with the involvement of Travis Scott, and I get it. I think when you bring Travis Scott out in the main event with John Cena and Cody Rhodes, that really gave people the hope that The Rock was going to be there. Now, I know we had a conversation on a previous episode about him coming out on the Pat McAfee show and trying to explain away his lack of participation. I think it's ridiculous. I love this week that Dave LaGreca has basically been in a war of words with The Rock about how much this messed up all the storylines. And I'm sorry, like, there's so many reports out there about people talking about, the one report I saw on WrestleZone was talking about how somebody, a veteran in the WWE locker room, saying that the card is basically at the mercy of Dwayne. Like, what he does, he does. That's a problem. Nobody, other than the everyday, week-to-week, pay-per-view to pay-per-view, or PLE to PLE booker, should have that kind of stroke and that kind of say. I get it. I have respect for anybody who's been in the business as long as these guys have. But at the same time, you're basically holding up an entire company. For what? I listened to the interviews, and I've reacted to this in a previous episode, but the reason this is relevant now is Travis Scott is actively preparing for an in-ring opportunity. And the rumor that is out there, and this is courtesy of several different outlets at this point, Wrestling Observer newsletter reporting that there are plans in place for Travis Scott to compete in WWE at some point, and the idea would be that he is going to team with John Cena in a tag team match. And though there are no guaranteed plans in place for who the opponents will definitely be, the word is that one of them would be Bad Bunny. How amazing would that be to have Travis Scott and Bad Bunny on opposing sides? The conversation is about who would team with Bad Bunny. He has a history with Damian Priest, but Priest is not on the John Cena level, though I think he could be, and I think it would make for an excellent program. The word is it'll be a John Cena level partner. It could be Cody Rhodes, could be somebody else who's a shocker or surprise. I don't really care who it is as long as it really gets the attention it needs, and Scott and Bunny can be pushed to a point where they're performing at a level that is justifiable to be in a main event program. Coming out of a WrestleMania that had a really lackluster main event, which maybe that was the plan. Maybe John Cena's whole point in this farewell tour as champion is to do the least and irritate people on the way out the door, and then have some kind of face turn at the end of the year or something. But Travis Scott better be ready to go whenever it is that he steps into the ring, because anything short of that is going to be a colossal letdown. In the tag team conversation, Penta and Phoenix, former AEW World Tag Team champions all over the world, let's be honest. Apparently there are plans, now that they are both under the WWE umbrella, for them to be a tag team once again. That's something I know, diehard wrestling fans are looking forward to. They belong together, they perform better together, they always have. But the word from Fightful Select is reporting that there is a plan in place and underway to reunite the Lucha Brothers as a tag team in WWE, and what a great time for that when their tag team division really is so stale. SmackDown, pretty solid. Raw, I'm just not loving it, and I would love to see the Lucha Brothers versus the New Day and many other teams, but just that match alone would be fantastic, and obviously you expect that they would be in a position to be pushed very strong, very hard, and be tag team champions in WWE in short order. And I think that's just exactly the way it should be. I hope what really comes of this is I'm hoping Triple H looks at the roster, and you've got teams like the Motor City Machine Guns, Street Profits, DIY, the Viking Raiders. Even if you talk about the New Day, that's 5, plus if you have Penta and Phoenix back together, 6 teams is not enough. And I hope that he starts looking outside of WWE and starts looking for teams to bring in that can really drive this tag team division. There have been opportunities for tag teams to be the main event on the show on Raw and SmackDown many times. You gotta keep the constant flow of new talent going, and that's something he needs to put a focus on. Hopefully this will be one step in that direction, and the tag team division will start getting the attention that it needs. And quite frankly, some of those teams deserve it. They are as good as any of the singles feuds going on out there. I think they kind of dropped the ball on SmackDown at WrestleMania season. The Tag Team Championship that ladder match should have taken place on WrestleMania's card. I know you can't fit everybody in, but that one should have been on the card. Still a great match. If you didn't watch SmackDown, we're going to get to the SmackDown results in a minute. But we'll come back to that. Got to talk about Karrion Kross. He did this shoot promo after Mania where he really vented, got, some adult verbiage in there, but really kind of, and the word from Fightful Select is that the promo was not scripted. And for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, please check it out. It's on X. You can find it where he basically vents all his frustrations about what it was like, being a talent who, is a good soldier and does what he's told to do, and basically talks about when he got released and since he's been back and how his times have been cut. And here's Logan Paul walking in, a guy who's got a YouTube channel, and he gets a prime match at WrestleMania with AJ Styles. And I don't disagree with him. Kross is trying so hard, and he's getting over organically with the crowd, and maybe that's why he cut this promo. And even Scarlett got involved for a brief moment there where she talked about the 25 years of combined experience the two of them have in the industry, and they're doing nothing of substance. Now, maybe there's something down the line, but WrestleMania just happened. They're very over. He mentions in his promo how he didn't ask for him to be the mystery opponent for Randy. He gives kudos to Joe Hendry, but you can't deny that the crowd is starting to really get behind him. And maybe he said that for that reason, to get the crowd even more behind him. Rumor is there's no heat on him backstage for the promo, thank goodness. Some people were theorizing he was trying to get himself fired. I don't think that's the case, but definitely something to monitor. And one of the other things I found interesting is that people were talking about how none of it was approved ahead of time, but then once it was over, somebody had to approve something before it got uploaded, but that other WWE talents reached out to Kross, check on his mental health, and then also mentioning that his promo kind of resonated both in character and in real life context with some of the other talents. So that's exciting, as well as in a way kind of concerning. But we'll have to wait and see how things pan out there going forward. But hopefully Kross gets more opportunities. Another one, and again, we'll get to this when we talk about the SmackDown results, but Aleister Black returning to WWE, talking about how long he's got left in him. He's 39 years old. He projects another 5 to 8 years. He made his big return to SmackDown. Wrestle and Flow had a mini documentary on him where he opened up on some of his experiences in wrestling, and it sounds like, he's really paying close attention to technology, nutrition, sports science, all that stuff, and he really expects to be able to give it another 5 to 8 years, which is plenty of time for him to be able to really make an impact. But he was also very honest about the fact that he is in the latter stages of his career, and he's blessed to still be as healthy as he is and still relevant, and the fans still supporting him, which is wonderful. It's great to see him back in a company that hopefully will know how to use him. I don't think AEW ever really did that, but we'll have to wait and see where he goes from here. But it is great to see him back on a brand where his wife is at, so they can spend some quality time together. And you have to wonder how many more people are going to be jumping ship from AEW to WWE. Speaking of, word is, if you go with WrestleVotes Radio, they have made the claim that WWE is preparing to make an quote-unquote outstanding offer to Mariah May, the former AEW Women's Champion. They're also saying that she has notified the company that she will not be re-signing. Kind of shocking to me when you think about how incredible her program was the last year with Toni Storm. But if WWE really is preparing to make a massive offer to her, other talents in AEW are going to see that. They're going to respond to that. They're going to see it coming, and it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out over time. If other people are going to be like, you know what? It was great to come here, get the payday from Tony Khan, but if I want the maximum exposure for my career, maybe I really do need to go to WWE. Other WWE news, Gunther, after the attack on McAfee and Michael Cole, apparently this was done for a reason. He gets a kayfabe suspension, and really what it is he asked for some time off. He needed some time off, so they give him a kayfabe suspension. He can go home. If you don't remember, his wife Jenny, former WWE UK superstar, they have a child together, probably wants some time to spend with the family, with the little one, and he deserves it. After everything he's done, being longest Intercontinental Champion, they keep talking in his promos leading up to Mania how like 80% of the time he's been in WWE, he's been a champion. What that also means is 80% plus of the time he's had to be constantly moving and constantly at TVs or tapings or meet and greets and media and all that kind of stuff. And he's earned some time to be with the family. So congrats to Gunther on being able to get that opportunity. Love the angle on Raw where he chokes those two out, and hopefully when he comes back, they'll use that to really cement him into a great program with somebody that's going to be trying to get retribution for Cole and McAfee. Charlotte Flair in the news. Everybody giving her a whole lot of attitude about how things went down before WrestleMania, her always being in the spotlight, things like that. But what I found fascinating, she spoke to people before WrestleMania 41 and made it very clear what her thought process is on going forward. There's actually a quote from them, and I'll read it to you here. It says, "After WrestleMania, I want to tap into that more, to blend Ashley, the real me, with Charlotte. The character I created isn't exactly relatable. Honestly, if I could be Charlotte in real life, I would. But the reality is, if I wasn't here right now, I'd probably be at home in sweats watching Sex and the City. I feel at this point in my career, it's time to pull the curtain back a little. I've been this hardcore dominant B for years, but now I want to show a different side, the side that high-fives kids on the way to the ring." I feel like she was trying to be genuine there and tell people how, the way she's been booked has put her in a tough spot where fans have turned on her and whatnot. She just wants to be a little bit more Ashley, and she wants that fan idolization. She wants to be able to high-five the kids. She wants to be able to put smiles on faces. And the way she's been booked and so strongly in all these championships makes that difficult. So, not sure where that's going to lead her. But I hope she gets that, because I think after all these years of, grinding out, being a top woman in the women's evolution and revolution, I think those are all great accolades, and I think she loves everything she's done. But at the same time, I think at this point she really just wants to know that people care, that they want to see her, they want to see her perform. She doesn't want go-away heat. I think what she really wants is to be embraced by the fans, and I think that's awesome. I really do. I think that's going to be exciting for her going forward. Before we get into SmackDown, let's talk about New Japan Pro Wrestling. They had Wrestling Red Zone in Hiroshima event earlier. And the results, I'm going to focus on two things, really. What they call the Bebop Tag Team, which was a massive multi-person tag team, a 10-person tag team match as part of Hiroshi Tanahashi's farewell tour, them picking up the win here. People on the other side of things, Robbie Eagles, Zack Sabre Jr., and their whole group of people. I think it's great to see Tanahashi spending time in the ring with so many talents before he leaves. I'm honestly, as a person in the United States, we don't get to see Tanahashi anywhere near enough. If you have Access Television for a while, they had it on there. You could go on New Japan World, but you really have to seek out New Japan content to be able to partake in it. It's not like they're on USA every week. You're missing out, and it's going to be so sad to see Tanahashi walk away. But in the meantime, love that he's working with all these talents. If you get a chance to check out some of his matches, please do that. Even at his age, the ace of New Japan, still putting on bangers and still contributing at such a high level. And now that he's in a position of authority within the company, I hope he guides that company back to its previous glory, which has been down for a couple years. I'm hoping he really finds a way to rekindle that. The other big thing coming out of this show, the IWGP Tag Team Championship that was vacated due to the exit by oh my gosh, I'm blanking. I hate it when I draw blanks on names. But anyways, Tag Team Championship vacated. We have a wrestler coming into WWE for one half of the Tag Team Champions. When they vacate the Tag Team Championship, the United Empire claiming that vacated Tag Team Champion, Callum Newman and Great-O-Khan defeating Bishop Bushiman, Hiroki Goto, and Yoshihashi, which if you don't watch New Japan regularly, you don't realize how big a deal that is. They needed to do something, put a legit team in there, and get people some exposure. Callum Newman, somebody who they really feel like they could build on, and this will give them the opportunity to do that. So hopefully they stabilize the tag team division. They can't keep having these exodus from New Japan and do what I was just talking about, Tanahashi bringing the company back to prominence. So hopefully they really invest in some stars, start learning how to book these long-term contracts, and retain their talent. Stop these one-year deals so people can bolt at the end of every year and go to AEW or WWE. We need people to stay there and really solidify their roster so that they can start building something special. This show, hopefully one step in that direction. Great-O-Khan, I love seeing him get any flowers. He's a great talent, and this hopefully will help establish some more opportunity in the future for he and for Callum Newman, who has a bright future ahead of him. If you have not checked out the spoilers for Collision this evening, a lot of things going on. Young Bucks will be there. They're going to mess with Swerve Strickland. You're going to see again a tease from Kenny Omega and Swerve. Whether there's going to be some kind of alliance there, we'll have to see how that plays out. I don't want to spoil anything for those watching the show. Toni Storm will be on the show facing Queen Aminata. Going to be a great match. Max Castrol is an open challenge. We'll see an appearance by Anna Jay, Megan Bayne, Penelope Ford. So there's a whole lot of things there. Tornado tag team match. Ring of Honor championship is going to be defended. Bandito's first defense since defeating Jericho for the championship. Roosh, AR Fox. FTR will be there facing the Paragon, Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong. And it should be a jam-packed show, so check that out tonight if you're not already. But got to get to SmackDown. Little disappointed. I wish they did more with SmackDown. And I'm kind of tired of seeing everybody get the upper hand on John Cena. As stupid as that sounds, he's your undisputed WWE champion. But once again, Randy Orton gets the drop on him and ends up laying out Cena. I don't really love that, if I'm being honest. At some point, I want to just see Cena start, being heelish and always getting the drop on the good guys. But the match is apparently set now. We're going to see Cena versus Orton, and that'll be a fantastic callback to their feuds of the past. We saw Fraxium is called up to SmackDown. They get their first match with Los Garzas, which I think is a great place for them to start. It does bolster the tag team division a little bit. I mentioned that earlier, but I can't help but feel like Fraxium, for as great as they were in NXT, they still don't really feel like they don't feel like a team like Rock and Roll Express. You know what I mean? Midnight Express, the Road Warriors. They still feel like two guys who were kind of put together for whatever reason. Love seeing them, get an opportunity. I think it's fantastic, but we still need more teams, more solid teams that look like they were meant to be teams on the brands. I actually think Los Garza are fantastic. I actually wish they got more opportunities, not less, but we'll have to wait and see how that goes. There is an angle with Tiffany Stratton and Jade Cargill. Not sure that I want to see that yet. I don't know that Cargill's ready for that yet. What are we doing with Bianca after her three-way at WrestleMania and coming up short? She's a SmackDown superstar, so why she wasn't a part of this conversation, I'm not entirely sure. I do love the return of Nia Jax, though I wish she was at Mania for something, maybe in the tag team match with, some kind of involvement when you're a former women's champion, then you're just totally not on the card, and then you come back the next week and suddenly you're back. I don't really understand that, but we'll have to wait and see. But it does look like we're going to see this feud continue between Stratton and Nia Jax. We're still going to see it continue with Cargill and Naomi. I'm not surprised about Cargill Naomi, but I'm a little surprised that they are bringing back the Nia Jax thing. I thought we had moved past that. I thought it would have been a better feud for Cargill to go into something with Jax at some point, just so you could have that dominant, massive force and powerhouse going at each other. But I guess we'll have to wait and see that in the future. The dialogue between Solo and Jacob Fatu, obviously this is going to lead to something. I suspect a SummerSlam match between the two. I'm not thrilled about seeing the involvement of Drew McIntyre. I feel like this feels like a step back. McIntyre was in the feud of the year last year, and now all of a sudden he's worrying about the United States Championship. He should be in the World Championship picture, whether John Cena is champion or not. You don't have to do the heel and babyface every single match thing. McIntyre should be livid. He should be going for a World Championship, not the United States Championship. So not loving that angle at all, but we'll have to wait to see how that plays out. The Women's United States Championship, I love Zelina Vega getting an opportunity to run with the championship, though I am sad that Chelsea Green lost it to her. I want Chelsea Green to get it back at some point because I still think we need to have the Chelsea Green versus Piper Niven thing go down at some point. But in the meantime, Vega winning a championship, long overdue. She's done anything and everything she's been asked to do, and kudos to her. Great thing for her. I love seeing her get an opportunity to run with the championship. As I mentioned earlier, the return of Aleister Black when Miz is out there running his mouth about being left off of WrestleMania. Black returning and setting up a match between the two for next week after hitting Black Mass. Love that. LA Knight and Drew McIntyre having that no contest number one contendership opportunity. We'll have to wait and see how they address that. I saw some news sites reporting that because there was a disqualification, no contest, no winner thing, that they were going to name somebody else. It's too convoluted. So Jacob Fatu pretty much takes out everybody. So I'm not sure who they're going to push into that role. We have a backstage segment, R-Truth talking trash to John Cena. Don't know how to feel about that. John Cena just needs to be more heelish. I don't know. It's weird to me. I'm still not loving the John Cena heel stuff unless he does more heel-ish stuff, but we'll have to wait and see. And of course, the TLC match, Street Profits retaining their tag team championship. Not a surprise. Something I feel like we all saw coming. If they were at WrestleMania and they had that match there, of course they have to retain here. We'll have to wait and see how that plays out over time. I think they've done everything they could possibly do with the teams that are on the SmackDown brand at this point. So somebody else needs to step up and be their next challenger. Anything you do with DIY, the Garzas, Pretty Deadly, any of those Motor City Machine Guns, that's going to feel like you're redoing what you've already done. I actually hope when we do the draft, we see some of those teams move over to Raw and vice versa, and we get somebody in there to face the Street Profits. Maybe that's where you see the Lucha Brothers to really pop that division, but we'll have to wait and see. That's all the time we have for this episode. Check back with us next episode where we run down the latest wrestling news and rumors. Special thanks as always goes out to Suno AI for all the music and sound effects we use in our show. Today's show is sponsored in part by Beazle Games. Bring a new friend to family game night. It's easy with Sketchy people. Showcase your artistic side in this game from Beazle Games by going to thegamecrafter.com and pick up your copy today. If you're looking for your next career move, maybe you need college or university life, maybe you just want some formal training for your next career decision, go to our website at frolifeplanning.com for all your higher education needs, as Fro Life Planning is for today, for tomorrow, and for life with Fro Life. I'm Fred Froelich, better known as Dr. Fro. I want to thank you for taking some time with us today. Until next time, take care, everybody. Have a great night.